Like the value of creators has come way down. So I think that because TikTok and short form has opened the barrier of entry, it means that anyone can be seen more easily, but the value therefore of creators is lower than it's ever been.
Welcome back to the podcast where we explore the creator economy and how you can succeed in it. Our guest today is the co-founder of Arcade Media, who manages the Sidemen and is the founder of Unboxed, the creator show on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, you name it. We have Jordan Schwarzenberger from the London, UK, right? Welcome to the creator landscape, Jordan.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Super excited. Got a lot of crazy questions to ask you. Obviously, the biggest ones are like the Sidemen and everything, but we want to save that for later. We want to hear about you and your story and how you sort of, where you started in the creator economy, the creator landscape, and how you've got yourself to the position that you're in today where you are managing the Sidemen and working with some crazy talent and you're having your own crazy podcast and everything like that. So, Jordan, I want to hear some insight. Like, when did you first get your taste of content creation?
Yeah, I mean, so to kind of go through, I guess, my story to start with, if that's quite a logical place. So I've been I'm 25 now. I've been working since I was 18. And I started after school when I didn't really want to go to uni. I knew that uni was going to be a waste of time. I had that instinct. There was like a burning sense that it was just going to be miserable. And I was proven to be right. But anyway, before I went, I thought, let me find some alternative things to do with my life. I need a way out of thinking that this is the only path. So I found online there was a job called a creative, and I was like, oh, that is the job I want. I don't know what it really does, but it's creative. You're coming up with ideas. I looked at the job descriptions, like being brand activations and ideation, like events. And I was like, this is amazing. What a job. So it led to me going to Lab Bible with the head of the agency at Vice called Ian Richardson. He's a friend of mine. He got the opportunity to go to Lad. He wanted me to come with him. I went, was there for a year and a half. And then from there, I then set up my own Gen Z marketing business called Roundabout after having worked with a number of brands and loved my time at Lab Bible. I did my own thing, did that for a number of months. And then one of the clients was a company called James Grant, who are like the biggest, we're now called YMU. They were and they are the biggest in sort of TV, especially in the UK, massive management company looking after elite talent. And we got on really well, and I love working with them through the agency. And then they offered me a full-time job as their chief creative officer, which I took. I shut down Roundabout to start there in the beginning of 2018. Loved it. And I was there for 4 years. The opportunity came after 4 years. Through a friend of mine, Aaron, who worked in the accountancy division. So he was an accountant, but he was always like accountancy plus. He'd help people with their business management and their, strategic side of things as well as their finances. And he would always bring me in to sort of talk to some of the talent that he looked after. And we got on so well. I come from the creative side, sort of help with sort of proto management, if you will. He come from the business management side, and we just had this thing and it just clicked. And then he went off to manage some TikTokers, and me and him were close. And I was always like, bro, like if there's ever an opportunity for us to work together, I would love to. We need to do it at some point. There will be a thing, whatever that thing will be. And then that thing turned out to be, he ended up meeting Sam Ewins, who's our third co-founder of Arcade, who has been the accountant for basically all of UK YouTube for the last decade. He looks after the Sidemen from an accountancy perspective and 400 other amazing creators, not as much anymore now because he's doing this. But he is like number one in YouTube accounting. And we came together and realized that the Sidemen had a huge gap, which was that they are immense creators, but at the time they had no infrastructure to execute anything beyond the content creation and also their clothing brand, Sidemen Clothing, their merch. So we came to them and said, look guys, you're sitting on the biggest entertainment franchise that this country has produced, like for this generation. This is the biggest opportunity of a lifetime. Here's how you take it. And here is a strategy and here's a vision and here's how we'll execute it. And also, what do you want to do? And how do we, start going after these ideas that you've had for a long time but never had the team to put around? So they said, yeah, let's go for it. They voted on all the ideas that they liked. And we went from there, and it's been 2 years since we started working with them formally, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think there should be like an order that someone transitions from an individual to a small team of people? Like what role is probably absolutely essential to get first? Is it an editor? Is it a producer? Is it someone that just manages what you do behind the scenes to give you a bit of direction and clarity? What's the most important thing?
I think it depends on where you are as a creator what sort of content you make, right? If what you're making is more production intensive, then probably a producer. If what you're making, and then editors, obviously you can freelance, you probably don't need to in-house them. But an in-house producer, if you're doing a lot of production intensive work where you're getting sets together and props, whatever, like, yeah, you're going to need that first probably, because editors, again, there are many freelance editors, but producers need to be more on the ground. It's a more full on job. So producer, production assistant, I think that's a key one. Somebody who can just help to execute, operationally execute your content for you and with you. If you're a streamer, if what you do is more behind the computer, it's probably going to be actually an editor right first. It's actually somebody who can clip up, who can, make a shorts channel for you, can get syndication sorted for you, who can get a YouTube clips channel for you as well, where you can actually get more videos, more income. So somebody can just get that out for you as much as possible, and that's probably going to be an editor or even like a channel manager. But I think, for most creators at the very, very beginning, what I've seen is, it's having a producer or an editor. It's one of the two, depending on the style of content you make, in-house, and then having, obviously freelancers supporting where possible, like editors and so on. But I think that's the first step. And again, not everyone can afford that. It takes a bit of time to get the capital to do that. But I think it's game changing. And if you're taking it really seriously, you're going to need some help at some point. You can't do it all on your own.
Have you seen any tools that are out there that may be free or low barrier to entry that might be essential for creator to check out if they can't afford to go and
for sure. Well, I think like things like Fiverr are really good, just as like a platform. Obviously, it's not a tool per se, but Fiverr's great in terms of, I've used it a number of times for things like you got to go for a few people probably to get like the good stuff. But for things like thumbnails, you can get some decent designers on there who are relatively cheap. If you can get people to sort mixing out for sound, if there's issues with sound, or to do edits for you, like you can get some good people. I mean, I think it's again few and far between, but there's some cheaper options on there. In terms of tools, Descript has been really good, and I use that a decent amount. As on the podcast side, obviously I have a podcast called Unboxed, which is we talk to elite creators and try and help the next generation of aspiring creators to see into this industry, because that's why we set it up, and we've used Descript a lot for that. And Descript's really good. It sort of helps to automate video editing and captioning, because syndication, when you're on your own, right, there's a lot of things you need to syndicate and get out. You've got TikTok shorts, reels, whatever it might be, and actually having captions, having all of that automated can save a lot of time. So I think I really like Descript. I think it's a really good tool. And obviously Fiverr is very useful when you're sort of starting out and you need just a few people here and there to help, where for not too much money.
You've assisted them with Sidemen clothing and everything that's going on, sides, etc., vodka. What about the creator that wants to take that next step into creating almost like a business empire or starting companies like that? How much work has to go into launching those companies behind the scenes?
It's a good question. I think a lot. These things aren't easy, right, at all. I think having I've got a theory, right, which I've been thinking about, which is that like the value of creators has come way down. So I think that because TikTok and short form has opened the barrier of entry, it means that anyone can be seen more easily, but the value therefore of creators is lower than it's ever been. It's like any inflation, right, or having too much supply of a currency, you're just going to destroy the value of the currency, or whatever it might be. So I think the currency of creators has actually come down. There are a few exceptions, Sidemen being one of them, Mr. Beast, Beta Squad, Logan, Jester, like people who are like really big and top of their game, and have been for a long time, who aren't in that bucket. But those creators who are coming up now are definitely less valuable as pure play creators than this generation before, by quite some margin, because of this transactional TikTok up and down, like you're hot, then you're not, you're hot, then you're not, people blowing up overnight and then disappearing.
One thing I'm really curious about, and I want to hear your perspective on this too, you say it's getting saturated. Like pretty much any man or person can pick up their phone and be a creator ASAP. Do you see that creating content will just not even be called creating content, because everybody's just doing it at a point, in the next 1 to 5 years, where everyone, if mums and dads, grandparents, you see the elder generation are getting on TikTok and creating content. Like everyone's going to be creating content to the point where you're going to have to build that IP from the start to build a business out of it. or is the landscape going to shift differently? Where do you see the thing of the creator economy moving in the next 5 years?
So this is my thing. I don't know, and I struggle with it. I think about it a lot, right? Like, because I do genuinely think. I do genuinely think that we're past the age of a superstar creator. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know if it will happen again. I really don't. I think we're transitioning out from an era of creator scarcity to an era of creator saturation, where if everyone's a creator, what value does it have? If everyone has 1 million followers, what value does it have? What we do know is that the opportunity on the flip side actually is that because anyone can be seen and get reach, you can be seen and you can go viral. Like, the opportunity is super exciting for everyone. But in terms of the dynamic of, I'm a creator, this is my living, and I'm going to be a superstar, like, I want to be the next X. I don't know how that's going to work in this short form world. I don't really see it working. I think it's exciting for brands, exciting for businesses, exciting for individuals, regular people, normal people, great, because actually you can be seen, you can be heard. It's motivation. Social's so exciting now in that sense because you can be found, you can be seen. That was not the case 3 years ago, 4 years ago. It wasn't really the case. It was way harder to grow on Instagram, for example, way harder to grow on on some of these platforms. Whereas now, because of short form, short YouTube Shorts, when they launched that, obviously loads of people were getting to 1 million subs like relatively quickly because they were gaming it and they were using the discovery of the platform, the algorithm, which was boosted at the time. So yeah, I see it moving into like everyone becomes a creator, everyone becomes a personal brand, and everyone has the opportunity to be seen. On the flip side, I see the end of the superstar creator, but I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. I think because it means it's ultimately more open for everyone. And that's an exciting opportunity at the same time. And we've had our superstars, like the Sidemen. We've had our superstars. And there will be the odd person who breaks through, I'm sure. It's not like you can't speak about these things too generally. But my general sense, my overriding instinct is that we're moving into that phase of post-superstar creator into a world of like creator democracy where everyone's a creator, everyone has a shot. Maybe that, I don't know if that's right or not. What do you think?
I don't know. Just as we finish this up, the thing that crossed my mind is, okay, there is going to be someone that comes in and completely reverses the whole game. They've seen how we go from long form content. We have these superstar creators, and how now everyone the value of the currency for being a creator goes down. Someone along the line is looking at this and analyzing this and is going to flip the whole system on its head. I feel like that someone's going to disrupt everything and it's going to change the game again. And it's like, it's never predictable. Nothing like the stock market, the housing market, inflation, whatever, the world, nothing's predictable. And as much as we'd like to think that everyone's going to be a content creator and everyone can make views, like it'll get to a point where everybody feels too
Someone's going to change. Yeah, I agree.
Going to change the game.
I agree.
And then all of a sudden it's a free for all again. Like how
TikTok
came in,
what's like, the next TikTok is what we're like. We're in a new era that's been shaped by TikTok. So the next era will be shaped by something new. It won't be shaped by what currently exists. And what it is, I don't know. I'm not going to pretend like I do.
Honestly, I have no idea. And that's also the really exciting thing to look forward to. So I think we'll leave it at that. Jordan, thank you so much for providing your insights into the creator economy, where you've come from, where you are, where you're heading, and where you see the creator landscape heading. Crazy unknown times ahead, but super excited for the ride, man. Where can everyone connect with you if they want to learn more about your work?
So my podcast, if you search up Unboxed, the Creator Show, that should come up again. That's about UK, shining a light on the UK creator scene, and it's been a lot of fun. And then look me up on LinkedIn, Jordan Schwarzenberger. It's a long name, but if you type in Jordan SCH, you'll probably come up. And then Instagram, Twitter, and so on as well, Jordan Schwartz. So yeah, thanks so much for having me, man. I hope that wasn't too like rambly and weird, but you got me thinking about this stuff. I haven't thought about it. I haven't articulated it properly in a while. So yeah, I appreciate the conversation, and thank you for having me.
Thank you to our creators and creative professionals for tuning into this episode. Hope you enjoyed this conversation. Catch you somewhere in the creator landscape, everyone.